Hello and welcome back to the ocean. It's great to see you here. I've got a special episode for you today. Charlie and I kayak out to Shoe Island and I catch my biggest fish ever on the pole spear. Stick around, enjoy the ride, you're gonna love this one. Sea conditions on the paddle out were simply incredible. Flat water with very little swell, and arriving at Shoe Island the visibility was looking fantastic. On today's dive, as opposed to using conventional spearfishing equipment, I'm using a pole spear, the Atlantis PS2 9-foot long pole spear. With my own modifications, this is a formidable piece of spearfishing equipment. The gear that you choose can make or break the dive. A cornerstone skill of mastering spearfishing is understanding your equipment and being able to get the most out of it. Now we're really getting into it. Bottom of the ocean, spear in hand, hunting mode turned on to the max. This is what I live for, and this is what I will die for. The ocean, being a part of it, being a part of the grand story and engaging with it entirely. I hit the second fish through the gills, basically ensuring clean and easy flight from my end. I returned to the surface with the fish, a nice sized kahawai. However, the one that was out in front was an absolute monster. Up until this point, kahawai were a fish that had always eluded me on the pole spear. They are very good at keeping their distance. They like to come and check you out, but they often like to keep 2 or more meters. They're generally quite an easy target with a spear gun where you have more range. However, on pole spears, they provide a lot more of a challenge. Luckily for me, both came very close in to check me out through a school of mau-mau. Using fish to disguise yourself is a great way to bring in curious predators that might not be so easily spooked as if they can see your entire mass. These are juvenile coheru. The coloration on their back, the yellow iridescence, is incredibly vibrant even underwater. These are adult coheru. They display the same incredible iridescence Coheru are a top tier eating fish. I think that of all the species that I've ever tried, they make the best sashimi. They're one of the most tender, beautiful, delicate fleshes you can get in all of our oceans. Every single fish that I shoot gets eaten, and because of this, I bleed them to ensure top eating quality. This is something you should always do to your fish as soon as possible to remove blood from the meat. Blood in the meat causes the fish to spoil at a much faster rate, as well as negatively affecting its flavour profile. Diving with a buddy is great, especially when you watch them. It is the best way to ensure safety as well as learning and picking up things from them. Laying on the bottom of the ocean surrounded by fish is simply my favourite place to be. I would trade every single one of my worldly possessions for a pair of gills so I could live here indefinitely. In a place so full of life, teeming with uncertainty and excitement around every corner. In a place so dynamic, versatile, fragile, beautiful, dangerous and delicate. I love the ocean. And sometimes I think that the ocean loves me. This day it felt like the universe was smiling. Beautiful water with beautiful fish. Beautiful place to be. Starfish are interesting creatures. Roaming the sea floor, they are voracious little vacuum cleaners, scavenging and scouring the bottom of the ocean in search of prey. Here in New Zealand's Upper North Island, kinner or sea urchins are both abundant and extremely tasty. Here I'm throwing a couple up on the rocks for when I get out I can crack into a couple. I generally don't like to eat a lot of food when I'm going diving, as I find I generally function better on an empty stomach. When you're diving, you're spending a lot of time upside down and whatnot. However, a few kinners on the way goes hard. Being a really good dive buddy depends on a whole range of factors. Looking out for yourself, looking out for your dive buddy, and being able to shoot fish really helps as well. Charlie can do all three of these things. He's a great safety diver, he's a lot of fun to dive with, he's very self-reliant, and he can shoot. But this day he was doing really well on the snappers. Kayaks work great for spearfishing out of. They're the perfect size for you and all the gear that you need to get to the spots where you want to go. Two-person kayaks are more stable and quicker than a conventional one-person kayak. Me and Charlie made it out to Shoe Island in just under an hour, but that's with good conditions. You always need to bear in mind what the weather's going to do. You don't want to be coming back in a headwind. Kayaks are not particularly stable, but I believe that is part of the fun.
Now spot me. Spot me.
Some boy, go home to your nana, go home to your nana. Lion the Arab charged for murder.
Charlie shot a really nice blue moki off of one of the deeper weed lines. After shooting it, we decided to gut it to see if we'd bring in anything. There's something we'd usually do, however when you're in a hot spot like this you want to have someone watching you. A couple minutes later I have this really interesting experience. On my way to the surface, there's nothing that unusual. However, unbeknownst to me, there's a jack mackerel chasing me, which is being chased by a bronze whaler shark. On my descent to the bottom, I spot two very large blue moki. I know my odds are better of landing them if I get right down to the bottom and try to track them as opposed to swimming right over straight off the bat. I get down, thus up, do a little bit of grunting, and try act very non-threatening. The blue moki that first came to say hi loops around my back and appears again on my right hand side, along with another blue moki. I start lining up, slowly, careful not to spook them. To date, this blue moki is the largest fish that I've ever gotten on a pole spear, and it was one of those stars aligned sort of a moment. Everything worked out the way I wanted it to, and it couldn't have been any better really. However, my second shots with the pole spear definitely need some work. This trevally that Charlie had shot was basically dead in the water. However, there's no harm in putting in a second shot, except when you miss. It hurts your ego a little bit. Nice humbling experience, and I found it pretty funny at the time as well. When you're diving an offshore island off of a kayak, you got to consider the fact that you're getting back as well. It's not just a beach where you hop up and get out. Even though you're out of the water, there's still a considerable mission in actually getting back to shore. The return journey took us about an hour. However, it was well worth it for all the fish that we got. I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. If you're opposed to commercial fishing, give this video a like and show your support. This video's sustainability message is open up your heart and care. Care for the ocean and care for the future of humanity and the planet as a whole. Don't be afraid to feel your emotions.